So without further ado, I would like to welcome to the show for the first time ever on this show, the entire Rock and Roll Rowdies. Gentlemen, hello.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
How are you all doing?
Yeah, we good. We enjoyed the football last night and a few libations afterwards.
I believe you were all in the pub, so...
Yeah, we're drinking, I think.
Yeah. Scottish mist.
But we've also been productive recording some sessions here.
Yeah.
Once we're all together, I mean, this is a rare occasion. Mal, this comes from Deal, the other side of the country. Granny's come in from LA to do some train spotting, and Wilco's here on duty.
I'm retired.
He's on probation.
He's on probation.
I'm done with everybody.
So we're gathering, so we're really pleased to sort of all get together here in my house in Devon.
As opposed to just seeing each other on screens.
Right.
Indeed. And I can tell there's a close bond between you all the way you've been before we came on the show, that we've been hugging and rubbing each other and fondling.
Granny.
But I should especially welcome you, Mark, Mr. Mark Emery.
Thank you.
First time we've actually had the chance on screen to talk.
Yeah.
You're still working.
Can
You
you
still
hear me?
been working? Yes.
And I've been working. So these guys have been carrying the torch and getting the Rock and Roll Rowdies name out there, and I've been on tour, mixing sound and traveling and
With Martin Turner from Wishbone Ash.
Yeah, with Martin Turner.
Where were you?
Indeed.
When we first met.
Yeah, that's
Back in the
we can go back
70s.
to that. Yeah,
That's how we first met.
Yeah.
I was working with Vinegar Joe. Mark was doing out front sound with Wishbone Ash.
the original Wishbone Ash back in the 70s, back in the day. So anyway, I started working with Martin about 6 years ago. After a garden party, we all got together, and he said, "Well, do you want to come back on the road?" So, it's been good. We've been to Japan last year. We've just done Europe.
Wow.
It's good, and
Is it playing all the old Wishbone Ash stuff?
it is, and they play it very accurately as well.
Nice.
That's well, as far as Martin Turner is concerned, he's the founding member of Wishbone, and he is Wishbone Ash. So instead of being Martin Turner ex Wishbone Ash, I think it should say
Just
Martin
Wishbone
Turner
Ash.
is Wishbone Ash, because it's very authentic. So a lot of the fans are really appreciating that, and it's growing. It's actually getting some legs to it. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the shows were well received, and
We've just been through Germany and Holland. It's beautiful.
and it was like well-oiled machine from a tour management perspective.
Well, we had a few incidents, but they were my fault. I just had to resolve them.
You didn't leave your passport,
No.
did you?
No,
Somebody else. If it went smoothly, it wouldn't be rock and roll.
Well, exactly, and we do like
And we would
incidents.
be all out of jobs, much sooner.
well, that's what we got to do. We got to undo what they do or don't do.
Incidents are good because they're great for broadcasting.
Yeah.
So, I would like to just briefly welcome my guests, panelists this morning. Pope Metallic is the first. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Glad to be here with all of these esteemed gentlemen and Brian. And great to see you all together. It's been really cool getting to know you guys over these last couple of weeks, and it's great to finally meet the whole gang, as it were.
Indeed, and also our great friend
Nice to
John
meet you too,
Daswolfen.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Actually, I got to dip out halfway through, sadly. So, lucky man.
That's right. We've got to stay through the whole thing. How can you get away?
Hey,
Well,
More coffee.
I got to go to the NFL draft, so it's
All right.
a bit of a drive for me, and then I got to fight for parking and all that fun stuff. So,
So football, you mean?
yes, American football.
Football, not football.
Yeah,
yeah. Not soccer.
Where are you in the States?
I'm in Missouri.
You're in Missouri.
Yeah,
That's where the draft is held.
yeah. It's at Kansas City this year.
Is that like a draw where they pull balls out and match numbers?
Well, no, what they do is a team gets a slot depending on where they ranked at the end of the season last year, and they get a pick from all the college players that entered the NFL draft pool. So there's a lot of hubbub about who's going to be on the team for next year and so on and so forth.
All right, well, that'll be fun. So enjoy that, mate. And welcome to Dustin.
I've got a quick football story. I was on tour in
I want
America.
to ask you guys about that. But go ahead.
In Chicago, and Walter Payton. I'm sure you American football fans will remember Walter. He came and hung out with us for quite a while. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. Yeah.
Who were you touring with then, mate?
I think it was Phil Collins, because I remember Walter saying to Phil, "Are you playing that Oh Lord tonight?" And Phil, we were all going, "What?" He said, "That song, Oh Lord, Oh Lord." And we went, "What?" He said, "Oh Lord, it's your big hit." In the air tonight,
In the air tonight.
I can hear it coming in the air. Oh Lord.
Oh Lord. I can hear you coming in the air tonight. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Hey, well,
So that was Walter's interpretation on it.
it could have been called that. I mean, let's face it, it could have been.
Absolutely.
So soccer, football, as we would call it, football, but these guys call it soccer. You guys all support various teams. And last night, what was going on last night that you were watching?
Man City and Arsenal.
And that's like the title. It was the title decider. There's still 2-3 games to go, but they're number 1 and number 2, and they were playing each other last night. So that was the title decider.
And Man City took it. Man City
trounced.
Man City won.
Grealish,
4-0.
Jack Grealish got into 3 fights.
Yeah, that's the best he did.
I'm not even a Man City fan, but I thought it was a great game.
I'm a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah, me too.
The mighty Liverpool.
Yeah. So and
I grew up on the Beatles and Liverpool. So I just
why?
yeah.
He's making that up.
I'm not.
making that
I
up.
wasn't really into football.
Disregard half of
I
what.
wasn't really into football. I played
I
rugby.
thought it was because he was a Cilla Black fan.
That was
Well, of
me.
course, yeah. that was Granny. I who have nothing.
Sideburns there.
So none of it. So what about Hartlepool though?
Yes.
Wilco,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes.
Did they survive?
No.
No.
Oh,
Are they going
And
now?
the team's up for sale, Brian, if you're interested.
If you guys want a good football team like Wrexham, that needs
Wrexham got promoted, and they're playing in this town on Saturday.
They are playing in Torquay.
Torquay.
All right. So Ryan Reynolds might be there.
Yeah.
They might be,
It's
yeah.
the end of the season game, and they just won the champion. They're champions.
Wow. Are they going up to the Premier or?
No. There's still another three leagues.
The League Two
before
they're going
Premier.
to.
They've got to League Two.
It's great for them, though. They have really come a long way with this
Fantastic.
publicity and with the American support as well, which is great.
Yeah.
Cool.
For a little town in. Is it in Wales or is it in England?
Yeah,
It's
Welsh Wales.
Welsh
Welsh Wales, Wrexham, North Wales, isn't it? North Wales? Yeah.
Yes.
Good for Ryan Reynolds, and it's been a lot of fun watching that.
He's enjoying it. He's loving it.
Yeah, and because there's no baggage with a team like that, not like supporting, say, Liverpool v Everton or Man City v Man United. You can get
there.
real.
Although he's apparently he's met up with Bale.
Yeah. Gareth Bale from Wales.
Bale.
like is it Christian Bale?
Not Christian, Gareth Bale. And he's just been playing out in LA, and he used to play for Barcelona or Real Madrid, one of those.
Real Madrid,
a big superstar of football, won everything. And he's just retired, but they're trying to get him to come back and play for Wrexham now.
Wow, that'd be good. Yeah.
I think he'll do it. I really do. I think he'll do it. It's a great thing.
Also, for some other new information, which I don't know if you know, the Average White Band wrote the theme song for Cosmos in 1975.
Okay.
Cosmos.
New York Cosmos.
New York.
Beckenbauer.
So we used to go drinking with Pele and Beckenbauer and all.
Was that LA or New York? Sorry.
New York.
New York, correct.
Yeah, well, Atlantic Records were the money behind that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you guys got to hang out with Pele?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did.
What a legend.
Not me.
Now, you might remember this, but I remember distinctly getting allowed. You were older, but a little older, but I was allowed to stay up late.
Hey, don't embarrass us.
I was allowed to stay up late to watch the 1970 World Cup final, Brazil-Italy. That was the first time I'd been allowed to stay up that I could
Before
recall.
my time, I'm afraid.
Yeah, after a certain... well, of course. I know. Actually, I was just thinking before we started that it's like looking at a reunion of the Manhattan Transfer here. Who's the ladies and who's the guys?
There's a little transgendering going on.
But yeah, I got to stay up late to watch that game. Still one of the greatest soccer games in history, in my opinion. That fourth, I think.
I did some shows with Manhattan Transfer.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that once, yeah, and they were quite a neat vocal act, yeah.
Yeah, they were really good.
Chanson d'amour.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. So, Pele, that's incredible. I mean, it's not just the fact you guys got to meet all these great rock stars and whatever, but you met people like Pele and all these other guys, footballers.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, you met Ali.
I mean, we met him in New York. He used to be in the Mayflower Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
Everything was crossing paths in those days. Everything was, that was the incredible part of it. Everything was mixing.
Yeah. Oh, it's a hell of an era. Do you think that things are entirely different now? Like from the rock, is rock still and the rock touring still a thing, or is it? Is it like a fringe now, or is it still?
It's more of a niche genre, isn't it? I mean, not everybody likes rock like they did in the 70s. Not everybody likes disco like they did in the 70s, and I didn't like it then. But and not everybody liked punk. But punk will be coming around as being like a and
I think
things come around. All of a sudden they realise that the rock is valuable, and I think it's very healthy in Germany and Europe, definitely. We did a couple of gigs with Manfred Mann recently. You never see him in the UK, but he's brilliant. He's got a great band.
One of the first bands I ever saw live, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Great band. Yeah.
I think back in the day when we were young, fans, it was real fans that came to gigs. You went to see a gig because you were a real fan of them. And I think now you go to gigs because it's an event.
Yeah.
It's become an event. Half of them don't know who they're going to see. It's just, that's the latest event. Let's go and see them.
Yeah, like the Stones are a big example of that for me, the Rolling Stones. People don't go to see the Rolling Stones anymore. They go because it's an event.
Yeah.
And they want to stand on a beach with a million other people. No, thank you. But,
I don't mind in Brazil.
Yeah.
In Brazil, it's okay.
I wouldn't do it here
in Turkey.
Right.
So, Pope, you're a big, current metal scene guy. I mean, that touring scene is still pretty strong, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. In the U.S., they tend to be a lot of smaller venues, but they're around all the time. In Europe, they're still playing, you have tours like Bloodstock and Wacken, where they'll play to 80, 90,000 people.
Yeah, Germany.
Hellfest.
Hellfest is absolutely glorious.
Yeah. So,
The other one.
I wanted to. No, that's all right. I wanted to just point out that Mark, you three guys are all from Hartlepool, but Mark isn't. So how did you guys meet? Was it just down in London at gigs, or
just pure bad luck?
Pure bad luck, like you were cursed.
We met in London when Mark was with Wishbone Ash, and we would all gig on each other's gigs. But I think we met when we did a gig at Exeter University, Mel. One of our first long-distance gigs, and I'm pretty sure we did a gig.
It wasn't with Zeppelin, though, was it?
No.
Exeter University.
We did Exeter University, but we did another gig at a place in Torquay, and I thought we met you there.
Well, that might be possible. I remember that, Wishbone were at a record launch. I think it was the first or second album, Pilgrimage, or the first one. And Vinegar Joe was playing I'm talking in the club.
I'm talking 1969 when we first came to London.
Remember, but not aware of it. You might.
I'm the train spotter. I remember,
but you don't remember.
I met him in 1972 in Ali Pali, Alexander Palace.
Again, I was mixing for
Wishbone Ash.
Yeah, I remember Ricky Parr PA, big PA systems.
That's
turbo
Trainspotting. He remembers the name of the PA system. That's like
but I'm more of a PA spotter than a train spotter.
It's the same as Trainspotting. I remember the type of locomotives.
Yeah. Well, PAs were by 72, everyone would start to have their own PAs, and they would have get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Well, we were using on tours in Britain. We were using like N-Tech and Ricky Farr's systems, which were all hired in big bass bin systems. You know, we were doing theatres, doing 3,000 seat theatres. Before that, we were carrying our own WEM columns. And you know, when in the early days of the, you know, when the album was maybe first out or before coming out, and John Peel had a gig at a club, and he got Wishbone in there, and he was pushing it on the radio. And I think that, you know, he was so instrumental for them breaking through in the UK to get them a deal. They're not so well known in the States these days, I guess. You know, I don't know, but
Wishbone Ash. No, they're probably a bit of a niche thing.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing really great gigs in the States back in the 70s. You know, we were doing. They
were on all the major TV shows. You know, so John Peel's an interesting guy though, because there were so few good radio personalities in Britain then that he was a guy that really did break a lot of bands. So I mean, you guys must have worked with him and one or two, like Bob Harris and guys that really did.
Whisper and Bob.
Well, that's right. Well, that's the old Grey Whistle Test. We've all been involved in that. With you guys were there with the White Band, weren't you?
Yeah.
You know, and Wishbone did that. And I remember doing a thing with John Peel at the Radio City Hall, right in the centre of London, and it was with.
It was downstairs.
It was with the
basement studio.
Yeah, BBC Radio Studios.
Yeah, off Piccadilly, just off Piccadilly.
Yeah, with the Faces.
Yeah.
Rod Stewart and the Faces, yeah.
Yeah, and it was they were so brilliant. They're just so relaxed. They're kicking the bloody soccer ball about on stage and that, and they just get up there and chunked away, and it was just awesome.
That's when Rod Stewart was good.
Back then, my wife actually worked for the Rod Stewart and the Faces back then.
Oh yeah,
she can tell you stories. You need to get her on. She'll tell you stories of, you know, Ronnie Wood.
Well, Ronnie Lane is one of my favourite artists of all time. Sad loss. I mean, I love Ronnie Lane. Yeah. Ooh La La is one of my favourite records of all time.
It's funny, I just listened to a track this afternoon before I came on with you guys. I just listened to a Ronnie Lane track, April Fool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lovely, lovely guy. Beautiful guy. Yeah. And Ooh La La, it's still a very emotional song, that, when you hear it, especially as he died so young, you know. Yeah. I mean, they did that big concert after Ronnie Lane died, the charity concert for. Were any of you guys involved with that one?
No, unfortunately, no.
No, that was
the only thing Mal hasn't been involved in.
That's right.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
We have a super chat with a question for the panel.
All right. So our great friend, my great buddy from Ottawa, Christian Delorme, has super chatted us $5 Canadian. Thank you, sir. Did you guys ever work for Canadian bands?
Canadian bands.
I didn't.
No, we had what's that 3-piece band from Canada?
Rush. Yeah, we done shows. We done shows together. Never directly worked for Canadian bands, but we certainly worked with Rush. I think we done some gigs with Bachman Turner Overdrive as well. They're Canadian.
Yeah, I'm going really back. First one I can remember is Canned Heat. Canadian band, yeah?
Canadian?
They're not Canadian.
Are you sure?
Don't know if they were Canadian.
On the road again?
Bob Height? Was that Bob Height?
I don't know what he was smoking back then.
Yeah.
There might have been Canadians in the band. I don't know, because the only one I know is the singer.
Canadian band. Anyone can react to that, let us know for sure when we hear that.
Indeed,
they're American.
And I've still got the Burton Cummins album from back then.
I feel sorry for you. No, I'm just
all right, stand corrected.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think of other. I mean, obviously the Guess Who and Bachman Turner Overdrive and Neil Young.
I think I did something when they were renamed Bachman Turner Overweight.
I
remember I think I might have been thinking of Guess Who anyway.
Easter Canadian.
That's a good one. But what about the band, Robbie Robertson and the band, because they were all, apart from Levon Helm, they were all Canadian. Did you ever work with them?
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Great band.
Never worked with them. Loved them.
Yeah.
And I've still got that double album, The Last Waltz. I've still got that on vinyl as well.
Humperdinck, wasn't it? The Last Waltz?
You know,
The Big Pink. I remember the Big Pink from the
it's
band.
funny, Granny, that you should mention that, because I've always hated Engelbert Humperdinck purely because he kept Strawberry Fields Forever from #1 in the UK with whatever crappy song it was that he had out at the time. First Beatles,
The Last Waltz.
Nowadays, that would be called diversity, man.
No, it'd be a different chart for it.
the greatest double A side piece of plastic in history, in my opinion. Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, and Engelbert Humperdinck keeps it from #1.
But didn't Jim Reeves with Distant Drums knock some other Beatles thing off the charts?
He probably did, but I quite like Jim Reeves. I mean, my dad was a big fan, so you know.
This is
sentimental value.
That Scottish softy, you know.
I can still sing all those Jim Reeves songs because
Please don't.
Can we take a break, please?
Does anybody else I bet nobody else in this panel remembers Jim Reeves.
Yeah. Distant Drums.
I hear the sound.
Oh, no,
distant drums.
See, what have I started here?
But he was like really early country, smooth country crooner. RCA Records, I think he was on RCA.
Yeah, he was big. He was big.
But my dad loved him.
Hang on a second. Who's the metal guy there? Who's that man? Well, you can see that.
Right, hang on.
Be over here.
Is this a gig? Oh,
A gig for.
Let's see who we got here. Sorcerer.
Hammer of Doom.
I
haven't specifically heard of most of these guys, but it seems like an interesting bill.
Well,
Yeah.
try holding it still.
Is that a festival?
Looks like it.
Martin Turner on a metal festival in November.
I would have thought, some of those acts will probably be a lot heavier than Martin Turner.
You can sit down.
You did come and hear the band, so.
Yeah, at festivals you get everybody from the more poppy guys to all the way to the black metal scene. Sometimes they show up.
Don't tell me all the second time.
Hey, there's a show going on here.
Okay, lively.
It's not that the Wishbone Ash and are not. They can rock hard. I mean, there's some loud stuff. They just were never metal per se.
Definitely not.
No. They're more progressive, heavy. Progressive hard rock.
I think the promoter wants to put a bit of variety in it, so it's a metal, festival. But
most fans that go to these are pretty. I mean, I like to see lots of different stuff at things like that. So, but do you guys ever? I mean, Mark, you're still working, but do you go to gigs for pleasure?
No.
Nah. I haven't been to a gig in 20 years.
If they came to my house, I'd watch them.
Yeah. And what's the gig?
That's always with Gene Hackman.
Holiday,
what's the gig?
You've seen thousands and thousands of gigs. I guess.
For me, I would love to go to shows, but I've always hated being backstage unless I was actually involved. You feel like you feel like a bacon sandwich in a synagogue.
All right, okay. Do you actually stand there going, "That guy's not done that right"? That guy's not done that right.
Yeah. Look at the way he's taped that mic cord on. Standards are slipping.
Beware, technology-wise, for myself, speaking for myself, beware over my head now.
Right.
The last
I wouldn't know how to set up equipment anymore.
The last live show I saw, I got a free ticket to go to the Kodak Theatre in Hollywood, and it was Mark Knopfler's band. And they were brilliant. It was a pleasure to go to, but I didn't have to drive there. I could actually take the train. But like the driving in LA, it puts you off doing anything. But that was a quality gig. Mark Knopfler's band was brilliant.
Yeah, I remember
5 years
seeing. I had the first Dire Straits album before it was a hit because it was out for about 9 months before Sultans of Swing became a hit, and I was going around raving about this band at high school, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, I don't care, who cares?" And then they became a hit, and it was like, "Oh no, we always liked them,"
Yeah, we did the Pink Pop Festival with the Average White Band in the '80s, and Dire Straits were on the same bill, and I think we were going on before them for some travel reason, and I think they didn't want to follow because Steve Ferroni was a killer drummer, and they were like about to burst down the scene, but they were very nervous about going on. What am I doing, man? Am I blocking your mic?
No, you fucking didn't me.
I'm an Italian. You know?
Granny, just move. Keep your hand permanently up. No, keep right.
You can see him.
Just keep going. No, we can still see Mal. We can still see him. Keep your hand moving. No, I'm just kidding, Mal.
Forget about
that. No, that first Dire Straits record was just an absolute monstrosity. And Mark, I actually saw an interview with him a couple of years back, and this dude has to be one of the most naturally talented guitar players I've ever seen. Yeah, because the guy's just sitting there in a conversation, just picking up different guitars, playing some pretty complicated stuff, and then just picking up stuff in different tuning and all this other crap. And it's just like, how are you this good?
He's the finger picking style. Oh, he's incredible. I love Telegraph Road is such a great record, 15-minute long thing that he does. It's so very emotional music he does.
Yeah, I met Mark Knopfler once. I actually promoted a show in Torbay here with the Notting Hillbillies, which is Mark Knopfler and a few other guys. Really nice, laid-back stuff. Anyway,
is Nick Lowe part of that? Or was it Nick?
Not Nick. No, I don't think so.
That was there was because there was another.
Ed Bicknell was on drums.
Yeah, back in the 70s there was Notting Hillbillies. But that was a guy from the Kinks, I think a couple of the guys from the Kinks. And somebody else, Nick
Anyway,
Lowe,
the thing that struck me most about him was chatting afterwards. He had such a young face. He looks like, Mark Knopfler, you think of like big nose and sort of like going for it and headband and all that. But he had such a nice face in natural view.
Yeah, it's okay to show out we've all got feelings for other people, Mark. It's
not a feeling. That's right. Well, I believe a beauty, whether it be male or female.
He was such a lovely chap. I like his trousers.
He was in touch with his.
It's such tight trousers.
And I believe fuck all to do with that. What are you talking about?
And I believe some of you guys were pretty close last night, sleeping in the same.
Oh, very.
Very.
Just like
Mark Knopfler is a northeast guy from the northeast, of course.
Newcastle.
Newcastle's not that far from Hartlepool, so he's
32 miles.
Yeah, it's kind of a hotbed of music when you look at it back to the Animals days, and then
that whole area.
Coverdale.
David Coverdale, Mickey Moody, Chris Rea. They were from Middlesbrough. That's Rogers. Paul Rogers from.
It's funny because I was looking up that stuff, and so you mentioned Chris Rea. Let me just add this to the stream. So we got
Brian Ferry from the Newcastle area.
Who's that?
Chris Rea. That's Chris Rea, who actually grew.
Yeah,
Chris Rea grew up in Hartlepool, even though he was born in Middlesbrough.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah, he grew up in Hartlepool. He lived there as a kid for many years. Good morning, Courtney, our great friend Courtney. And yes, Nick Lowe. I adore Nick Lowe. But,
Iron Maiden, what's that guitarist's name? The Polish?
Yannick.
What's that? Sorry. Paul Rogers, of course you mentioned.
Yeah.
And this guy, he grew up in Hartlepool too.
He did not.
He did.
You wouldn't get away with that haircut.
I heard with him. He never mentioned it.
Yeah, he apparently, according to the interwebs, he grew up in Hartlepool.
I can't believe it.
He would have
lasted 5 minutes with that haircut.
That's why he moved to Birmingham, looking like that.
Yeah.
I would have run him down the street looking like that.
Yeah, it's Dave Hill of Slade, in case anybody doesn't know.